So Sharon, welcome. It's so lovely for you to join us. It looks as though you are in a wonderful environment, whether it is a shed or an office or whatever, I don't know, but it looks lovely. It also proves that the UK isn't always raining, which I think is quite a nice thing. So Sharon, to those who don't know you,
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about Sharon and her philosophy.
Hi everyone, so I'm Sharon Boyd and I'm the Chief Customer Officer at MKL Innovation. So we are an Internet of Things house in Yorkshire. I can't say whether it's sunny or not because I'm much further south than the rest of the guys, but yeah, so we are all about Internet of Things. So my I guess area of expertise that we're very much moving into is all about customer experience in technology and how the two go together, because quite often techie world and CX world are very, very different, and it's how to bring those together in a partnership. So that is what we're all about, and how we can help businesses to really simplify their processes and make them much more customer focused.
And as you rightly say, this is something that is so vitally important, but many organizations still don't get it. And just in terms of the way it needs to come together, I'm going to ask you a question again that you don't know I'm going to ask you, but I'm going to ask you that the term Internet of Things was bandied around a lot, probably 2-3 years ago. You don't hear many people using it now, as openly as they were. Just very, very succinctly, how do you define Internet of Things in the current world that we live in?
So IoT is all about how all of your devices are linked together through the internet. And if anything is linked together, you can get data from it and you can control it. And having data around your operation is so valuable because of the insights that you can do with that. So if you think about it from an energy point of view, if you know exactly how much energy is being used and spent across your operation, you can reduce it and reduce your carbon footprint. But you can use it for anything across your operation. That's just one reason for it.
Now, I'm not blowing smoke up your behind, but that's the best, simplest explanation I've heard in 3 years. So thank you for that. You see, I never stop learning. I think it's brilliant. So with that in mind, what is your key message to organizations of how they should be doing this?
So that's really helpful that you've just got me to talk through IoT and how to kind of be succinct with it, because that is our whole ethos about making IoT easy and simple. And that is one of the things that there's a lot of at the moment, fear. So there's fear around COVID, there's fear around the unknown, there's fear about what happens next, what happens with my job, what happens with my family, my school, all of that kind of stuff. So we are used to that from an Internet of Things. So before this COVID stuff happened, we were very aware there's a lot of customer fear and misunderstanding, confusion out there about tech. So we also have a 5G area of our business. There's lots of fear around 5G and does it cause COVID and what is it and is it going to hurt me? So we're very used from a technical world of trying to understand and get underneath the fear that customers have and embrace it and not shying away from it. And I think that is something that's really important now, whether it's technical or whatever it is that you have in your business, to understand where the customer is and embrace that, and then put steps in place to reassure them. So that's very much our philosophy, and we do a lot around that, and just meeting it head on.
Again, completely agree. Well, those that know me know that I preach a lot, and I'm continuously preaching about the need to understand the customer journey before you throw technology at it. And far too often it's the other way around. Technology is thrown at the business without knowing the journey. What the last 6 months have demonstrated is that there is an even greater reliance on technology than ever before, because we can't interact in the way that we used to. And so many organizations have accelerated the adoption of technology. What again, hopefully I'm not asking a question that's going to repeat what you've just said, but what would you say to companies right now about how should they be bringing technology in right now in this current situation?
So there's a few things there. As you said, a lot of companies have had to really accelerate digital transformation. So they've had to throw a lot of platforms and ways of working in there that just to get people working from home. And that can be quite confusing for people using Teams and then Zoom and then Go meeting and that, what? So trying to keep it as simple as possible. And quite often tech isn't simple. You have to throw different bits in, you have to make it secure. So there's some real pieces there about just understanding the basics of what you need to make your operation work. What do your employees or what do your customers physically need, and then build from there and keep that human factor in. We often talk about human-centered design, don't we, in CX? And in the tech world, that is more important than anything. I really do believe that, because if you just keep throwing tech out there and you need this certificate and you need, there's a real place for multi-factor authentication, for instance, that's really important. But if you keep throwing tech layer over tech layer over tech layer, all that's going to happen is you're going to just turn off your customers, frighten them, and you just put in all sorts of barriers in.
Again, I completely agree. I think my concern is that too many see technology as the answer to reducing cost and eliminating human interaction. But I love what you've just said, because business is all about people. And, ultimately, if you remove human interaction, you remove too much of it, you can make the experience worse. So I do have a question that's come from Theatre, which I'm going to ask you in a moment. But before I ask that question, tell us about the future. Because this acceleration has happened, people may or may not yet know the fallout or the success or failure of digital adoption. What should companies be thinking about going forward?
I think it's about eating your own dog food. So really understanding how it feels for a customer, how it feels for an employee to do business with you. What does it feel like on the other side? And if you start going through that, you'll feel the barriers that are in place, whether they're digital, technical, operational, emotional, all that kind of thing. And then you can just go back down to the basic that you need. So actually in my chapter in the book, I actually talk about a Gemba Walk, which is just basically a tool where you go and watch your front end operation and you observe your employees as they interact with customers. And that might be as simple as watching on the website to see how users move around, how they go through that shopping trolley experience, but walking through the whole thing. How do I order something? How hard is it for me to shop with you? And that, I think, is really something that people need to be doing again now. Business owners need to be checking in with their own experience that they're putting out there, seeing what it really feels like rather than assuming that they know. And only by doing that can they move forwards.
I totally agree. In fact, it made me smile when I read your chapter, because as an old process improvement guy, I haven't seen the word Gemba for quite a long time. Again, none of this is complicated,
No.
but it's remarkable how few do that. They don't experience what their customers are experiencing. So you've already answered the question of your chapter in the book, so that gives me the opportunity to ask this question. The question being AI. Now, I don't know why, it makes me feel uncomfortable saying AI, because everyone bandies it around all the time. Theatre's question is, what is your take on using artificial intelligence for developing customer experience? What is your take on it? Is it just like the Internet of Things buzzword, people say it without really getting it, or how should people be interpreting it?
So I think artificial intelligence can very much be an enabler, same as most tech. And if you treat it in that way, and again, design it around the human experience and use it to complement what you already have, then it is fantastic. But it equally can be, and again, it can be scary. People automatically go to, oh, the Terminator's going to pop out. So again, if you're going to use AI or you're talking about AI, it should not be all about the fact that it's a buzzword. And yeah, we're using AI. It should be behind the scenes, very much to support your operation, support your customer, and just move people forwards, not using tech for tech's sake. So it has to be how you design it, not just to use it because it's fancy and we're cutting edge. It's not what this is about.
Yeah, completely agree. I'll never forget, I think it was 2010. when a leader came up to me and said, "I need an app." So, what? And I'm sure many of you have been through the same thing. Thank you so much, Sharon, for sharing your expertise and for finally giving me a description of Internet of Things that makes sense. I think if we do this again, we will call this the Eating Your Own Dog Food webinar. I think we love that expression. So thank you so much for joining us today.